changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
U.S. wholesale prices surged last month as the Iran war drove up the cost of energy.
The Labor Department reported Tuesday that its producer price index, which measures inflation before it hits consumers, rose 0.5% from February and 4% from March of 2025. The year-over-year gains was the biggest in more than 3 years. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
A Tesla executive expects the company's Shanghai factory to help pave the way for the mass production of humanoid robots.
The comments by a Tesla vice president in Shanghai come as the U.S. electric vehicle giant pivots to robotics. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is urging a focus on AI and robotics and a reduced concentration on car sales. Rich Thomason reporting.
Despite ongoing concerns about the oil markets and the war in Iran, a booming day on Wall Street at the closing bell. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up by 317 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening, the low dropping to 61. Tomorrow we break into the low 90s. Sky full of sunshine, 91 the high. We'll stay with that sunshine and low 90s into the weekend. Saturday, 94 and sunshine, while on Sunday, we cool to 85. There's no rain anywhere in our forecast the next 10 days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
The Point. This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network on a Tuesday night. Good to have you with us. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you got your taxes in today, of course, you got till tomorrow, but got mine done today, so I feel like about a 500-pound gorilla or a miniature plumber has been taken off my back. So I'm feeling very lighthearted tonight, feeling good. Now, could end up being thrown into jail. First time in my life, Bergie, that I've done my taxes on my own for many, many years. Mm-hmm. But I happen to have a brother who's a CPA, so if I have a question, I just ring him up. Hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? What do I move here? What do I move there? What do I check here? What do I check there? I did the whole thing on my own this time. So I could end up in jail. What do you think, Plumber?
You see, I don't like that because you're my employer. I don't like that. I don't like that, Phil.
So if I do end up in jail, when you send the cake, make sure you put a very large fingernail filing apparatus in there so I can work on the jail cell and get my way out of there.
I think this can be used against you in court.
Think so?
I'm actually guessing, though, if the Internal Revenue Service does not have bigger fish to fry than the three of us, we've got real big problems. Yeah. If they're going to throw any of us into jail for the measly amount of money that we might owe the feds, and I know that the feds got my return because I saw the check that I sent them is going through the bank account, so you're welcome, USA.
Yeah. Usually when you owe, back. They don't mess with you. Unless you aren't paying, enough, you're owing, but you're not owing enough. I mean, they're checking over it. So anyway, feels good to get that done. I hope everybody's gotten it done. Or you can put in an extension and buy yourself a little bit of time. Big show tonight. It's a Tuesday night. And our phone number, 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. Don't wear it out, but use it occasionally to reach us here on Sports Talk. That is a South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Don't forget the lottery's impact. You can learn more at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. And playing for fun is a win for education. We're coming to you from our home studio in Columbia at The Point Radio, Columbia's number one radio station, Plummer. No question about it. Numero uno. Don't need to listen to anything else but The Point Radio in Columbia. So we're glad that you're with us tonight. We're going to hear from Shane Beamer as we move through the program. He wrapped up spring football practice with the Gamecocks today. I think he feels pretty good about what he saw from the spring. He kind of feels like Lenora Sellers looked good in adopting to the new offense, has taken on more leadership duties, has seen other guys step up as well. And, I think with the kind of schedule they have, a chance to put some W's on the board early on and build some confidence and get some momentum going. I do like the way their schedule starts out compared to Clemson, because I wouldn't want to be South Carolina and opening the season at LSU.
No.
In Lane Kiffin's first game, unlike Clemson, which will have to do that and, see if they can muster something against those Tigers down there. Unlike, remember last year they were leading LSU at halftime and then did nothing in the second half offensively. So it's going to be tough for Clemson going into there, but this is about South Carolina tonight, and schedule sets up nicely for them to win some games, get some confidence going, and then go into some of these tougher arenas like Alabama that they'll have to go into and others down the road, feeling like, and a lot of it is mental, do you believe you can win, and then you have to do the things that help you to win. If they can put all that together, they might have themselves a pretty good season.
And his comments about he's pleased with the progress they made throughout spring camp, and you expect to hear that from most coaches unless they just are disastrous, and we still probably won't hear that from the coach. But did you get the impression from him that he was happy not to have a spring game? I mean, I understand why they didn't have it this year because of construction at the stadium, but, is this something that they might continue to do? Or do you believe he is of the mindset that he wants to give the fans an opportunity to see them in the spring?
He wasn't asked that question. That would have been a good question. He wasn't asked that question. But, my feeling is that he enjoyed what they did this year. Mm-hmm. He enjoyed the kind of break from it. He enjoyed the practice routine that they had this year. He really thinks the practice routine that they used this year was beneficial to the team because they had a routine where they worked, I think it was like 3 consecutive days, then they had days off, and it was a routine that gave them a lot of opportunity for coaching, for teaching during the practice sessions. When there was a mistake, they could stop play and they could, focus on what the mistake was. Mm-hmm. I think you really like that. As far as the spring game situation goes, my guess is that, they had a great time at the concert, and he was really pleased with the turnout of prospects that they had in on Saturday and that they had in all spring. They had a ton in, and, he said they had more offered prospects in during their spring practice than they've had during his time at South Carolina. But I do believe that you do miss a recruiting opportunity, a really good recruiting opportunity, when you don't have the spring game. You have that chance to put your team, your program, your fans, everybody on display in your stadium and have the recruits there sitting in the stands focused on the field and what's going on around them. They missed that this year. My guess is that that would be what he would prefer. You're gonna see him on Thursday up in Greenville, so you can ask him yourself.
That is true. And also my guess is this is the last time, because I'm not even sure I've seen any spring games on television so far. I think that has gone by the boards after last year when they started coming up with these hour-long specials that they'd run right before the start of the season. And none of all the coaches thought, man, that's a whole lot better. We can craft and, shield the media away from things we don't want them to see and we don't want anybody else to see. So I'm guessing the days of actually getting to watch a spring game on television have gone by the wayside now.
I guess so. I imagine so. No great loss there. There's nothing more boring than a spring game. On the one hand, there are benefits. On the other hand, you understand why Clemson, with their spring game, after the first quarter, they used a running clock, I believe, for the last 3 quarters. So Dabo Sweeney wanted to get that thing over. And plus, he was on the crowd
He was on the
mic.
PA.
Yeah, the whole time on the field, yelling at his. I thought it was great, yelling at his players, directing his players, praising his players. So obviously, it's not your typical football game, but it does give you a chance to have all those recruits in your stadium and do things there that you really can't do on the practice field. I imagine that'd be something he would like to bring back next year if it's possible. All right, phone number 888-898-2525. How are you feeling if you're a Gamecock fan? How are you feeling about the season now, the season ahead, now that spring practice is over? Our poll question of the week, which is brought to you by Larry Lucas State Farm Insurance, 803-799-1998 for Columbia, and 803-359-0770 for the Lexington office. 9 to 12 wins, 8 wins, 7 wins, or 6 or less. Of the votes that have come in, 50% are leaning towards 8 wins for the Gamecocks. That would be 8-4 in the regular season. 37.5% have them with 7. 12.5% have them at 6 or less. And nobody's picking them to win 9 to 12 games. Could they sneak up and win 9 to 12 games in there somewhere?
Sure they could.
With that schedule.
They could also only win 6. I mean, all that is a possibility at this point in time. Why not shoot for the stars? I mean, they win 9 or 10 games against that schedule, they're going to do exactly what Coach Beamer said at the end of last season, that they would be in the discussion for the playoffs and are probably a playoff team.
Well, let's just look at W's and L's right here. So, Kent State, W, Towson, W, Mississippi State, W. Those are 3 in a row at home. They should open 3-0 before they go to Alabama. Okay? Now, I mean, Alabama, they haven't been fearful of Alabama. Last time they were in Tuscaloosa, they could have, should have won that ball game. And that was a great Alabama football team. As I recall, that Alabama football team, did they win the national championship that year? I think they were really good. I can't remember if they won it all that year or not. But they could have, should have won that game, and Alabama's going to have a new quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you give South Carolina a little bit of a thumbs up there because they're going to have the more proven commodity at quarterback. But it's still Alabama. It's still Tuscaloosa. Nobody's going to pick South Carolina to win that game. So let's just go with the party line thinking and go loss. That's 3-1. Kentucky at home, new coaching staff, new everything, can beat Kentucky. So you're 4-1 going to Florida. All right? Can they win at Florida? With, again, a new coaching staff, a new everything down in the swamp, I think South Carolina will have the better quarterback. They'll have the better coach. What, Plummer? Why are you shaking your head? You're a Gamecock. Forever to thee.
No. You're wrong about all of that.
Yeah. What do you think? Could that be the one that they go and steal? And that would be 5-1 going into their open date?
Well, they're going to have to win one of those 2 games, I think, either the Alabama or the Florida game, if not both. And keep in mind, they should have won the Alabama game this past year. I don't want to hark back to the bad decision Shane Beamer made about going for 2 in that game, but let's face it, that's what cost them that game. So they were good enough to win this past year at home. So, I mean, going to Alabama, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I wouldn't pick them. I'm sort of like you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd pick them. But they've got to win one of those 2 games, I would think, to keep the momentum going throughout September.
The rest of the way, man, what a tough slate. Tennessee at home. I give that a possibility. I don't think Tennessee's anything you got to roll over and play dead for. I think Tennessee's in play. Going out to Oklahoma, I don't know that that's a doable deal there. Let's put Tennessee in the win column, Oklahoma in the L column. So that makes you 6-2 with 4 to go. Let's skip A&M for a second. Let's say they can win at Arkansas.
Ooh.
So that would be 7. 7-2. Then you've got A&M and Georgia at home and Clemson on the road. So one of those 3, you got to get a win. I'm sure you would be thinking A&M at home because it isn't home.
They play better at Clemson than they do in Columbia.
Well, that's true.
Tigers, so.
That's true. But that thing's going to end one day. This winning on the road streak's going to end one day. The Georgia thing, I think, is probably the one I would put in clearly in the L column. Texas A&M and Clemson, I think, are very much in play for them. So, that being the case, we're talking about the possibility of 8, maybe 9 wins the way we see it. If they play high-level football, good football, if they're coached well, they stay healthy, if Lenora Sellers really does take to that offense and thrives and they get the running game, if he gives them 400 to 500 rushing yards in the season, along with 3,000-plus passing yards, if those receivers, if Nick Harbor's an all-SEC caliber receiver, if Nitro Tuggle is as good as they're talking about him being at this point, if some of the other receivers step up, if Matt Fuller can be the guy to handle the running attack back there, or maybe somebody else, if that offensive line comes together as an older group of a bunch of grown men being pieced together in a short amount of time, if they can make there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs that we still don't have the answer to. Don't have the answer to the kicking game yet either, as far as the place kicking is concerned. That they came out of spring practice with that still up in the air. So on paper, looking at all this, looking at the personnel, looking at what they've got to play with here, I think they could be in that 8 to 9 win category. Yeah. And if you get to 9 wins, then you're talking about the playoffs, I would think.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
All right, phone number 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We'll hit the recruiting coming up for you in a little bit as well. But one of the primary targets South Carolina was pursuing, emphasis on was pursuing in the basketball free agency world is not coming to South Carolina. That's the big guy from SMU, Samit Yugitolu, who is going to go to Indiana. He has committed to or signed with Indiana, the 7-2 guy from SMU. We'll talk more about all that in a moment.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
This spring, Founders Federal Credit Union is giving you a fresh start. Open or access your home equity line of credit and get 4.99% APR on funds drawn from April 1st through May 31st. That's more in your pocket for home improvements or even that vacation you've been dreaming about. The possibilities are endless. Imagine a fresh start this spring with financial flexibility and peace of mind. But hurry, this special offer ends May 31st. 4.99% promotional APR expires December 31st, 2026. APR will then revert to the standard variable APR, currently 6.75% to 11.75%. Plus, you'll enjoy competitive rates designed to fit your budget. Don't miss this chance to turn your home's equity into something memorable. Relax, your HELOC just got more powerful. Visit foundersfcu.com/HELOC for more information. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. See website for details.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
All right, welcome back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525. Our text message line is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Send us a text if you prefer to communicate that way. Quick update on baseball. Clemson's jumped out to a 4-0 lead on Charlotte in the top of the first inning. The Tigers are the visiting team here, so a good start for them. Gaffney with a ground ball to third that scored a run, and then Jarrell with a 3-run jack to left. So 4-0 Clemson early on, playing there in uptown Charlotte, playing that at Truist Park or Field. I always get that confused. It's Truist something.
I think it's Truist Field. The
Truist
Braves may
Field.
actually play at Truist Park.
Truist Park, Truist Field, Truist Bank.
It does, yeah. We're not making any money off of any of them. So
the
it really
Braves
doesn't
play at
matter.
Truist Park.
Thank you. Coastal Carolina, Wake Forest scoreless top of the second. Winthrop, Elon scoreless bottom of the second. Upstate and College of Charleston scoreless bottom of the second. And let's see here. Citadel and Charleston Southern. Citadel and Charleston Southern scoreless in the bottom of the first. Go back to the basketball thing in a moment. While I've got Charleston Southern and Citadel on my mind, Bergie, I got the best news of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year today. You want to hear it?
Absolutely.
Talk to David Shelton. Everybody's friend, David Shelton. Now, you know David's been battling some health issues, but he sounded really, really good, and he's got one more procedure later on this month. All goes well. Docs say it's going to fix him up. So
that is great news.
He's optimistic.
Absolutely.
He's feeling like he'll be back covering football in person on the sidelines this coming football season. So wish him the very best because he has had a battle. He has had a real battle. So, but that's good news. He sounded great, and I'm happy to pass along positive information in this case. So everybody pull for David Shelton. Think about David Shelton as he's got this little procedure. That's a little procedure to us, to the person who's having it. It's not a little procedure. It's a major procedure, but to everybody else. So wish him well, and he will be, hopefully, he'll be fine. South Carolina, Clemson softball, they're playing the second game of their season series tonight. Clemson won the first one. Right now, South Carolina has a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first up at Clemson. That's the last event in the Palmetto series this year, I do believe. South Carolina, Davidson, 6:30 tonight. Riley Goodman on the mound for South Carolina. And Will Craddock, once again, will be batting in the leadoff spot. Somebody's listening to Sports Talk, Bergie.
We got him out of the 8-hole. Now, I think you and I both agree he probably should hit cleanup as instead of Talmadge LeCroy, but they've won a couple of ball games, so you get it to this point. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The Gamecocks have, in their starting lineup right now, they have one player hitting over 300. That's Patrick Evans hitting 301. They have nobody else in their starting lineup right now hitting over 300. That's tough in today's college baseball.
It's amazing they were able to sweep anybody.
Well, you had to sweep
even
a
as
bad
bad as
team.
Missouri
You
is.
had to sweep
yeah,
a
no,
bad.
even as bad as they
really
are.
had to, they need Riley Goodman to go out and pitch well tonight. His ERA, you know what? It's kind of it looks very similar to the Plumbers' SAT score, 8.10, 8.10.
Whoa.
Yeah, very similar to the Plumbers' SAT score, 8.10.
I'm kind of speechless because that's not true.
Yeah,
It's closer to my GPA.
What, 8.1?
Yeah,
that's
my
So you
GPA.
double. You're so smart. They give you a higher scale.
Yes, us special students, they double it.
Yeah, I know you're special. All right. All right. Going back to the basketball free agency. So the news came out just a little while ago, right, about Samit
Correct.
Gigatolu. South Carolina made a concerted effort, so they don't get him. They obviously made a big offer of money for him. He's 7'2". He's considered one of the better big men, not the best, but one of the better big men in free agency. Probably commanding in the neighborhood of $2.5 million. A lot of stories going out too. We'll touch on some of them. A lot of stories going around about how things are just crazy out of control in the basketball free agency market in college, how the spending's gone way up, the lies have gone way up, the misleading has gone way up. People are getting suckered way up. So South Carolina misses on him. They miss on Raleigh Allensbach, who is going to Cincinnati. And they got Corey Mincy. He's with them. They had Rowan Brumbaugh in for a visit from Tulane. Indiana, Cincinnati, and LSU also in on him. They've been dealing with Carter Knox out of Arkansas. North Carolina's also been involved there. Tyshawn Archie's another we've seen mentioned with South Carolina. So, and another we saw mentioned was Okichukwu Okeke from Albany, 6'10". So, don't really know where they're going to go there. How about this, though? If you don't win, if your money you're willing to spend big with a free agent, let's say, with a free agent, and you can't get it, why don't you just take a big chunk and go after the best high school player you can get, like the 8-star that just decommitted from North Carolina, the 8-star plus in our system. Seriously, why don't you throw? And I'm saying this with all seriousness.
No, I know.
Why don't you throw $5 or $6 million at him? Okay,
and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Michigan. You look at what Michigan was able to do this year, and I'm not trying to compare the Gamecocks situation to the reigning national champions, but I think in college basketball right now, the only way to win, in my opinion, is to get big. And to me, this is a massive loss for the Gamecocks. They had to get Salmon. Mm-hmm. And he's evidently joining Indiana, who is, according to On3, if you want to buy into some of this stuff, has the number one class in the portal rankings. Mm-hmm. So whatever that's worth. Mm-hmm. But I think you've got to get big, but you've got to get older. And that to me is the problem for high school recruits now. I think most coaches are looking and thinking we've got to get a lot older, and the only way we can do that is in the portal.
Okay, that's a thought. We'll continue after this break.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening, the low dropping to 61. Tomorrow we break into the low 90s. Sky full of sunshine, 91 the high. We'll stay with that sunshine and low 90s into the weekend. Saturday, 94 and sunshine, while on Sunday, we cool to 85. There's no rain anywhere in our forecast the next 10 days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Productive discussion. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A super typhoon steadily battered a pair of remote U.S. islands in the Pacific Ocean with ferocious winds and relentless rains. The storm shredded tin roofs and forced residents to take cover from flying tree limbs. Super Typhoon Sinlaku pounded the northern Mariana Islands for hours before daybreak Wednesday. Lebanon and Israel have held direct diplomatic talks for the first time in decades. Tuesday's more than 2-hour meeting in Washington came after more than a month of conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. The State Department praised the two sides for what it called productive discussions. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 317 points. The Nasdaq rose 455. The S&P 500 advanced 81. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated frustrated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
What was life like in the South Carolina backcountry during the American Revolution? Find out at Stories of the Backcountry, Fairfield in the Revolution, a 2-day living history event in Winsboro. Saturday, April 25th from 10 to 5 and Sunday, the 26th from 12 to 3. Experience live reenactments, historic encampments, children's activities, and meet 18th century settlers. Learn more at southcarolina250.com/Fairfield. Sponsored in part by the South Carolina American Revolution Sesquicentennial Commission.
When storms hit the Midlands, who do you trust to keep your family safe and dry? Shingles Now, your local family-owned pros. Charlie and Rodney, both GAF Master Elite contractors, deliver honest, top-quality roof repairs and replacements. Licensed, insured, and proud to offer free inspections and estimates, we make protection stress-free and affordable. You can count on Shingles Now, the team that treats you like family. Shingles Now, roof repairs right away. Visit shinglesnow.com today.
Hi, I'm Sean Paliak, the new owner of Columbia Screen Printing and Design, formerly Bardak Design and Tease Me. We've rebranded, but our experienced staff and quality results haven't changed. We proudly serve the Columbia area with top-notch garments and design, and offer free delivery on our local orders. Visit us on Rosewood Drive near the fairgrounds, or check us out online. For t-shirts, sweatshirts, jerseys, koozies, and more, call Columbia Screen Printing and Design at 254-7940. We're local, fast, and ready to wow you.
Spring is the perfect time to make sure your home stays comfortable. For over 12 years, Sweet Comfort Services has been proud to serve Columbia as the best small family-owned heating and air company in the area. Whether you need repairs, a new installation, or preventative maintenance, our trusted team has you covered. We install dependable systems from Goodman and Train, and if you have a quote from any licensed HVAC company, we'll match or beat their price. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweethvac.com. Sweet Comfort Services, keeping Columbia comfortable.
All right, Wofford's taking a 5-0 lead on Presbyterian in the bottom of the fourth, maybe going to the top of the fourth. 5-0 Wofford leading Presbyterian. Clemson now 6-0. Oh, the Tigers are mad. 6-0 over Charlotte's. Moore, 2-run double to center field, and they're still in the top of the first. I just finished the first. 6-0 going to the second. 4 hits for the Tigers in that inning. They left 2, and they're up comfortably 6-0. Coastal Wake Forest, they are scoreless. South Carolina women leading Clemson in the softball game 2-0, and South Carolina just getting underway against Davidson in the baseball game. And Citadel, Charleston Southern, they are scoreless in the bottom of the first. So there you go. You're up to date. We'll keep you up to date on all that. Going to hear from Shane Beamer coming up in a little bit. Got recruiting for you as well. Real quick thing on recruiting, and then we'll get to phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the phone number. So the decommitment of Jaden Kelly Murray, talked about that last night once it came out. And I thought it was a blow. I thought it was bad. I thought it was a negative, but apparently, Bergie, this is something that South Carolina wanted. Apparently, from what I've read at the Big Spur, Kelly Murray was no longer wanted by South Carolina. Apparently, at a combine recently in the state put on by the high school coaches, according to this reporting, he ran a 4.7. And so, apparently, he became persona non grata from that standpoint. And so apparently, I don't know if they pulled the offer or suggested he go somewhere else, but this was not apparently as something, from what I've read, not something that he initiated because he wanted to go to Virginia Tech or somewhere else. Apparently, the opportunity at South Carolina either no longer existed or he was not getting that welcome home feeling anymore.
Well, you wrote a story about him when he committed to South Carolina back in February, and you had quotes from him in that story. And everything he said was just glowing comments about South Carolina, how much he really appreciated that they viewed him as a priority. He felt like it was good that as one of the top wide receivers in the state, he was being recruited by the flagship school of the state. And, I was really surprised because going back and looking at what he had said when he committed, you thought, boy, this is odd. And now that you bring this up tonight, it makes a whole lot more sense. Well, and that's the part we never know, Phil, and that's the thing about decommitments. We just never know which side of the coin to blame, if there is blame to be had.
I get that. I get these combines and players are scouted and players are tested and people record their numbers and et cetera, et cetera. And I get it. 4.7's 4.7. As somebody said to me today, 4.7 in high school, you're not going to beat any SEC defensive backs running a 4.7 if that's your true speed. But this kid played at the highest level in high school football in South Carolina at one of the premier programs the last 2 seasons. And in the last 2 seasons, he had 154 catches for about 2,500 yards and a lot of touchdowns. And again, I know he's running against high school defensive backs, not SEC defensive backs.
Sure.
But still, everybody else is playing against high school players as well. Everybody else is.
No doubt.
And the other thing I don't understand is, it is what it is. This happens to be a South Carolina story. If it were Clemson, I'd be saying the same thing. You recruited this kid. You scouted this kid. You looked at his film. You interviewed him. You visited him. You had him in for visits. And then you took his commitment with the typical welcome home announcement and all the joy that came with that and all the celebration that came around that. And, now because he posted a 4.7 40, all that is out the door and there's no longer a place for him. He's no longer good enough. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a personality thing in there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe he crossed Beamer or something, the coaching staff with behavior or something he said, and they felt like he didn't fit in. I don't know. I just found it very interesting when I did further reading last night from the folks over at the Big Spur, and they certainly know what they're talking about when they say that in not so many words, he was kind of, encouraged to go look elsewhere and not stick to his commitment to South Carolina.
Well, and if you're going to be swayed that much by one 40-yard dash at a combine, it kind of makes you question what South Carolina was doing during the recruiting process, as you laid out perfectly. Did they not ever time him on their own and figure out exactly how fast he is? They would have had plenty of opportunities to do so. I'm sure Mike Furry went to a few games at Summerville to see this kid play. I can't imagine everything was off of videotape and they're going to take a commitment from one of the top wide receivers in the country, at least in the state, without having seen him in person and done their own research and vetting, right?
Yeah. Well, and he'd been coming to South Carolina. He's made multiple visits since his 8th grade, going back and looking at the notes. And I know he was in their camps, and they saw him run in the camps. But, again, you kind of have to, as an outsider looking inside, as we are, outsiders looking inside, not insiders looking outside, you have to defer to the knowledge of the organization and the scouts and the general manager and all that kind of stuff who make those decisions, and they've determined that this wasn't going to continue to work. So we'll see where he ends up, and we'll see what kind of college career he has moving forward. I just know the times I've seen him in state championship settings or playoff settings, he's been a really, really good player, and his high school numbers don't lie. 155 catches the last 2 seasons. That's probably the high number in the state, if you ask me. So, we'll see. We'll see who's right and who's wrong in this particular case.
Sure.
All right, let's go to the phones, 888-898-252. Oh, dropped off, huh? Okay, we won't go to the phones. We'll go to Shane Beamer while we're talking about the Gamecocks today. Shane Beamer wrapped up spring practice at South Carolina. 15 practices for the Gamecocks that concluded on Saturday with no spring game. And today was a day that he came over to visit with the media one final time in the spring and discuss how things went in spring practice this year. In particular, wrapping it up on Saturday, no spring game, but a big concert and a lot of prospects on hand and a very good practice. He felt that they ended things on a high note.
Yeah, I thought Lenore's had a great spring, getting adjusted or learning a new offense. Another great weekend from a recruiting standpoint with the number of prospects that we had on campus. Didn't have a spring game, obviously, but we had a ton of prospects and their families that were here last Saturday. But then really throughout the spring, I think I mentioned it before, it's the most number of offered guys that came through spring practice that we've ever had in my time as the head coach. So appreciate them coming. Thanks to all the families and coaches and friends that got them here. And then kudos to our staff for their efforts in getting those prospects here to visit. They all, every prospect and their families that came through here, they all every weekend or every day would just comment on the energy here at practice, the competitive spirit at practice, the overall culture. So pleased to hear that. Big recruiting period coming up for us. Our coaches are getting ready to go out on the road starting tomorrow. So the May evaluation period technically starts in April, so that's tomorrow. So our coaches will be on the road really tomorrow through May, off and on. The rule has changed to where we're able to get more coaches out on the road, which will be another benefit for us because we've got some fantastic people in this program, and it'll be nice to be able to get more of our staff out on the road visiting with guys, and then that'll lead right into the summer official visits. So summers have always been a big time around here for us from a recruiting standpoint, and this year I anticipate being no different with the opportunities to get more young men and their families on campus. Our guys, our players are finishing up academics. We're obviously done with spring practice, but we got 2 weeks of class left. So this isn't a take a breath and go, kick back and hang out for the next 2 weeks. We're working football-wise. We're still lifting and having workouts very similar to what we did in January and February before we started spring practice. Meeting with coaches, so that's this week and next week, along with everything that we got going on academically. We need to finish out the semester strong. We're on track to have another really good semester academically. We've got 8 players that we anticipate graduating in May from South Carolina to go along with the 14 guys that graduated in December. So really proud of that fact that we'll have 22 graduates between December of 25 and May of 26. So need those guys to finish up. Doing exit meetings right now with our players. So that started Monday morning at 7:15 a.m. My first meeting, so all of our assistant coaches are meeting with their players at their position to wrap up the spring, and then I'm meeting with all 100, however many guys we got, 112, 110, whatever it is right now, players that are on our team right now. I'll be doing individual meetings with all those guys this week and next, just where they stand and how the spring went and what we need to see going forward. So that's always enjoyable, being able to connect with them. Won't be on the road recruiting in May. It's against NCAA rules for the head coach to be out, but we'll be out at some Gamecock Club events. So looking forward to being out on that tour and being able to see so many awesome Gamecocks across the state of South Carolina starting in a couple weeks. I think we're in Spartanburg first here in a couple weeks. So looking forward to those visits and having a chance to visit with all the Gamecock fans, myself, and all the other head coaches of different sports that will be with me. And then wrapping up the spring and recapping that, like where we are, got a lot of work to do, but feel like we made a lot of progress from the start of spring practice in March to now. And I like this team, the work ethic, the maturity, the intentionality about everything that they're doing. Even last Saturday, I think a lot of the teams in the country, if it was practice 15 on a Saturday morning, you got the Darius Rucker concert later on in the night, you're not having a spring game, would have not had the practice that we had. But we had a really spirited, energetic practice last Saturday, and those guys had fun out there competing, working, and making each other better. That was the theme of this spring, just the way they went out there and worked each and every day. So excited. We've got a lot of work to do. Like I said, summer is going to be huge for all of these guys. The months of June and July, or really May when they come back for summer school, but the end of May, all of June, all of July will be really big for our guys. We got to get healthy, but we're on the right track, have made a lot of progress, and looking forward to seeing the steps we take here going forward.
I think, after hearing that, Bergie, I'm more inclined to go with 10 wins. What do you think?
Let's go ahead and pencil them into the playoffs.
I mean, seriously. Hey, listen, it's talking season almost.
Exactly.
I mean, it's preliminary talking season. We'll get to talking season in a little bit, but I mean, he sounds very optimistic about what they accomplished here. Hey, you got to be optimistic coming off of 4-8. You got to build.
Mm-hmm.
You got to build confidence. You got to build. Your fan base has got to believe. You got to have some belief. You got to think that you can turn around. They got to think that you're the guy, and you got the players. And I do like this coaching staff. I think the hires are very good, and I mean the players. I like an older quarterback, 4th year in the program. I think Lenore Sellers should be ready to take a massive step forward with this year's offense and some of the other pieces they have to work around him. I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off defensively. I really think some of the people they brought in defensively look good. Linebackers look really good. I think the secondary continues to be a strength. They need a place kicker who can go 55 yards.
Yeah.
They got to add about 7 or 8 yards to their kicking game there because they were, basically a 50-yard and in sort of field goal kicking team. They need a guy that can go 55 for them. Punting should be fine. Return game should be fine. So there's a lot of good pieces to this football team. It's one of the, this is what losers point out. Losers point out how close we were to winning a particular game or how close we were to winning X number of games to have a good season. That's what they kind of were last year. Close enough in enough games to where had they won those games, they would have turned some things around. But they weren't. They weren't good enough. Maybe this year they will be.
Well, and you could also flip that stat around in particular because remember the 9-win season, if memory serves, they won a lot of close games in the fourth quarter. They found a way to finish games that they were unable to do this past season, and that's the difference between winning 9 games and ending up going 4-8 and having to basically go into the offseason a whole lot sooner than you would rather. But I think your point about long-distance field goals is almost a must anymore, Phil, because, I mean, when NFL kickers are now banging it in from the midfield line. Mm-hmm. When they're knocking it in from 60 yards out, college kickers have to be able to do that anymore. You've got maybe not 60, but you've got to be good from 50 yards in for sure, with your limit probably stretched out to about 52, 53 yards. Because if you get inside the opponent's 35-yard line, you've got to feel like that's a scoring opportunity for us.
Agreed. And, I mean, the NFL is getting ridiculous now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 65-yard field goal is becoming – well, I'm not going to say it's the norm, but it's not such a surprising thing anymore. 63, 64, 65 yards. And NFL will probably look at that one day and say, we probably need to tighten up these uprights a little bit. Let's narrow those uprights, make it a little more difficult, discourage these long field goal attempts, make them go for it on 4th down. That's probably what they'll do. Be back in just a moment.
If you're a new parent or grandparent, it might be tough to picture your little ones heading off to college, but it'll be here before you know it. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving for a child's future education right now. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Effective training is not just about lifting heavier weight. It is about producing force with control. The Tsunami Bar was developed in 2012 to enhance high-intensity workouts while helping reduce joint stress. Its flexible design creates controlled oscillation, requiring your muscles to stabilize and work together throughout each movement. This promotes greater muscle activation, improved balance, and stronger functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports is committed to continuous improvement, delivering dynamic training tools for individuals at every fitness level. Whether you are focused on long-term strength, injury prevention, or improving rotational stability for sports like golf, Tsunami Bar training supports total body performance. Discover more at TsunamiBarSports.com. Visit TsunamiBarSports.com. That's TsunamiBarSports.com.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Update baseball real quick before we go to recruiting. South Carolina with a 3-1 lead on Davidson after spotting Davidson a run top of the first. The Gamecocks came back. Craddock with a leadoff homer. LeCroy with a 2-run homer. Gamecocks are up 3-1. South Carolina softball leads Clemson bottom of the third 2-0. Clemson baseball leading Charlotte 6-0 top of the third. Wake Forest 2-0 over Coastal Carolina bottom of the third, and Wake's got the bases loaded with 2 outs. College of Charleston and Upstate are scoreless in the fifth. Winthrop 3-1 over Elon in the top of the fourth, and Citadel and Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern leading top of the third, 3-2, and Wofford leading Presbyterian 5-1, bottom of the fifth. You ever gotten to the bottom of a fifth before, Plummer?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you
I used
feel?
to play baseball.
How'd you feel when you got to it? He doesn't even understand what I'm saying.
No.
When you get
that
to the
went
bottom
right
of
over
a
his
fifth,
head.
you don't get that, do you?
I
really
don't. I refuse to drink.
Okay. You
at
do
my
get it.
age.
That's good. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Proud of you.
Especially because we have
Maybe a
members
little
of law
marijuana.
enforcement.
Maybe just a little marijuana
Well,
here and there.
contact high on Harbison Boulevard.
Or Millwood Avenue.
Or my dorm room from last semester.
All right, recruiting report here on Sports Talk, and it is brought to you by Seawells, where you will not find alcohol nor marijuana, just delicious food. What we have tomorrow on the daily luncheon buffet.
Tomorrow, carved applewood smoked ham.
Smoked? Who smoked that ham?
Chicken tenders, Irish beef stew, and pulled pork.
What?
Pulled pork.
Pulled pork. Pulled pork. Pulled is one syllable.
Pulled.
There you go.
What did I say?
Pulled. Pulled pork.
Did not say pulled pork.
Didn't he say pulled burgie? Sounded like pulled to me.
I'm still trying to get past the smoked pork.
All right, the daily luncheon buffet tomorrow at Seawells.
Then you have Thursday. Hold
from
on.
11 till 2.
I got to give you Thursday and Friday, too.
Well, hurry up.
Thursday, you have Italian lasagna, fried flounder fillets, smoked sausage with peppers and onions, and southern fried chicken. Friday, southern fried chicken, carved roast beef. It's a roast beef Friday. Barbecue glazed pork chops, and grilled boom boom shrimp.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. All right, there you go. And, of course, for this summer into the fall, make your plans for Seawells to handle all your catering needs. Very simple. 803-771-7385. Website, Seawells Catering SC. SeawellsCateringSC.com. All right. Football. Linebacker A.J. Randall of Raleigh came into South Carolina for his penultimate spring official visit. That took place this past Friday and Saturday. 2-day trip with his mom. It went very well. He's got an OV with the Gamecocks May 1. He said it was good to get in and watch him practice, meet with Clayton White, meet with Shane Beamer, watch the practice up close. They really like his size, his mass, his length. And, they told him it's close to home. It's the SEC. Good program. So he's given South Carolina a good hard look at this point, but he's nowhere near making a decision. He is going to visit Notre Dame weekend after next. He's already been to NC State, Duke, Oregon, Pittsburgh, Florida, Miami, Georgia, Louisville, Ohio State, and South Carolina here in the spring. He's got also on officials, he's got Ohio State June 19th, and he said Florida, Miami, and Georgia, other schools at the top with him right now who could get officials. A tentative date of June 30th for his commitment announcement. Cornerback Josh Dobson, formerly of Catawba Ridge, is going to visit Michigan Thursday. Clemson target tight end Grant Haviland of Milton, Georgia, committed to Vanderbilt. Berge, you know it's a different world we live in when Vandy beats out the likes of Clemson, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, for a guy considered the best tight end in Georgia. And Georgia, with their tradition
Especially
of recruiting tight ends.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And he's going to Vanderbilt? Maybe we shouldn't say Vanderbilt that way anymore. Times, they are a-changing. Let's see.
Maybe he just doesn't have a sports car. He can drive 127 miles an hour, and that's why he wouldn't fit in Georgia.
Entirely possible. Entirely possible.
The problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, what else we have? Basketball, as we mentioned earlier, USC target Samit Yigotolu. He committed to Indiana. Probably signed with Indiana. Big miss for South Carolina there. Tiger Illustrated reported 6'9" free agent Dylan Faulkner was at Clemson over the weekend. He played at Sanford this past season. He averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds. He played at Lipscomb the previous 2 seasons. Free agent guard 6'4" Rowan Brumbaugh was at South Carolina Monday. Played at Tulane the past 2 seasons. Was at Georgetown before that. Started his career at Texas. 6'4" Dante Curse of the Citadel, moving on to Queens. South Carolina State forward 6'8" James Morrow, moving on to Jacksonville. And Furman lands 6'8" Marcus Kell from Western Carolina. All 3 of those from portal updates. And I think that is what we have for you tonight in recruiting. If anything else pops up, we'll be happy to pop on and tell you about it, but that's where things are right now. There's another player that Clemson has been looking at in the portal, John, for basketball, according to Paul Strelo. Bowden Kapke, he's 6'10" from Boston College. He's visiting Nebraska today. Virginia Tech and St. Louis have also been strong on him, and we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. For the first time in decades, Lebanon and Israel held direct diplomatic talks. Tuesday's more than 2-hour meeting in Washington came after more than a month of conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. Yakil Leiter, Israel's U.S. ambassador, says it was clear Israel and Lebanon are on the same side of the equation.
The Lebanese government made it very clear that they will no longer be occupied by Hezbollah. And Iran has been weakened. Hezbollah is dramatically weakened. This is an opportunity. This is the first time our 2 countries are sitting together in over 3 decades. Let's feel the moment. Let's enjoy the moment. And we enjoyed it together.
Lebanon's ambassador to the U.S. called for a ceasefire and to address the humanitarian crisis resulting from the conflict. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the talks a historic opportunity. Meanwhile, Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesman Majed Al-Ansari confirms Pakistan is leading ceasefire discussions with the U.S. and Iran, and Qatar is not directly involved.
We remain, in contact with our brothers in Pakistan who are leading this mediation. As you have seen, there has been a lot of calls and prospective visits from Pakistani officials with Qatari officials, and all of this is within this kind of coordination that the whole region actually is engaging with Pakistan. We applaud the efforts of Pakistan. We support their efforts.
Last weekend, talks between the U.S. and Iran aimed at permanently ending the conflict in Iran failed to produce an agreement. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up by 317 points. The Nasdaq rose 455. The S&P 500 advanced 81, and oil dropped to around $92 a barrel. More at townhall.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
There's a reprieve for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Block Communications says the Ventatulis Institute for Local Journalism, which publishes the digital-only Baltimore Banner, has agreed to buy the Post-Gazette. Terms of the deal weren't announced. The newspaper had been scheduled to close on May 3rd. The Post-Gazette dates back to 1786. If it had been closed, Pittsburgh would have been the nation's largest community without a city-based newspaper. The Post-Gazette says it will continue to publish print editions on Thursday and Sunday. I'm Mike Hempen.
The Kennedy Center's new executive director, Matt Floca, is leading tours to show the building's need for major repairs. These tours highlight water damage and issues with the high-vac system and parking garages. News and analysis always available at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening, the low dropping to 61. Tomorrow we break into the low 90s. Sky full of sunshine, 91 the high. We'll stay with that sunshine and low 90s into the weekend. Saturday, 94 and sunshine, while on Sunday, we cool to 85. There's no rain anywhere in our forecast the next 10 days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Someone will be right with you.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, the plumber, all together tonight. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And text message line is 803-900-4847. South Carolina now 5-1 on Davidson, top of the second. Craddock homered, LeCroy homered, Scobie homered. The last two were two-run homers. So 3 homers in the bottom of the first. That sounds like some of the media that cover them. Homers. 3 homers. Oh, I really shouldn't say that, should I, Bergie? 3 homers in the bottom of the first. Craddock, LeCroy, and Scobie. 5-1, South Carolina over Davidson. South Carolina softball leading Clemson 2-0, top of the fourth. Clemson has only 1 hit. South Carolina has 4 hits. The Gamecocks scored their 2 runs in the second on a single to center field by Inslee. So it's 2-0 South Carolina there. Clemson baseball 6-0 on Charlotte. Nothing's changed there. Bottom 3. Wake Forest now 5-1 over Coastal Carolina. Top of the fourth. It is Winthrop 7-1 on Elon. Top of the fourth. College of Charleston 3-0 over Upstate. Bottom of the fifth. Cougars swept North Carolina A&T over the weekend. So they had a very positive weekend for them. Charleston Southern leading the Citadel 3-2, top of the third. Wofford 5-0 over Presbyterian, top of the fourth. You're up to date. Coming up, a little bit more with Shane Beamer, and Russell Branham from Darlington will be with us at the bottom of the hour. He'll be substituting again for Josh Harris. Josh not available tonight, but Russell will be with us, talk about that phenomenal finish, overtime finish at Bristol on Sunday, the kind of finish you want to have at Bristol. And, of course, things going on. Got a big event coming up at Darlington. Good for your tummy. Good for what ails you. Tell you about that with Russell coming up in a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Got some messages here. Mike from Barnwell. Phil, maybe your recruiting report should begin with whichever school has the most money will get such and such recruit. Well, that kind of nails it. That kind of narrows it down. Whichever one has the most money is going to get such and such recruit.
That's great.
You know, I will say, again, when it comes to these free agents, I mean, I'm not sure academics or anything else comes into play here, just strictly the money. Just strictly show me the money. Like the big guy from SMU, he didn't even visit any schools. It was strictly financial consideration. Who was going to make him the best offer? And I guess you look at the roster and see. I mean, look at South Carolina's roster. There's nobody on it. You want to come play.
Who am I playing with? Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and I mean, it is Indiana, in fairness. I mean, we're not going to try to begin to compare the tradition of Indiana basketball versus the tradition of USC basketball. That being said, though, it's not like the Hoosiers went to the third round of the NCAA tournament this year, just a couple of games above 500. So they weren't a whole lot better. But it is Indiana basketball, and my guess is, as I mentioned earlier, they've done a nice job in the portal recruiting. Mm-hmm. The problem is that's one the Gamecocks just could not miss on. That was a guy that I think they had to have.
You know, I understand what you're saying. Look at Michigan. Look at that model, and they got older. They signed all these guys. But, I mean, if you can't –
and got big.
If you can't – yeah. But take the guy at North Carolina who just decommitted from North Carolina, who's supposedly like the best player in the country in high school. I mean, why don't you do what BYU did with A.J. DeBansa, which is –
That's an interesting idea.
Throw a bunch of money at him. He was the best high school player in the country, maybe, and just throw the whole ball of wax at him and build around the best high school player in the country. Wouldn't you think if you went to – I can't think of the kid's name who left North Carolina, but if you went to that kid and say, look, all right, you know, here's $6 million to come play for us next season. And look, I mean, according to the reports – Lamont Parrish has got upwards of $15 million to play with. All right? So
it's Dylan Mingo is his name.
Okay. So Dylan Mingo, if he is all that, I don't know anything about him, but if he's all that, if he's the number one high school player in the country, or one of those, you know, top 4 or 5, why don't you throw $5 or $6 million at him, build around him for a year, and then spend, you know, your balance on filling in the other parts. I know you got to go find a big somewhere, but you can find a big for much less money, a serviceable big man. So why wouldn't you go that route then? Why wouldn't you go after the best high school player you could get and just throw whatever it takes to go get that guy?
I don't have a good argument against that other than I just feel like the way college basketball has gone. And I guess, too, Phil, is what are your expectations? If you're South Carolina, you go bring in a top-notch high school player that you hope you might be able to keep for more than one season. Are you hoping to build? And if you get to the NCAA tournament this year, I think that would be enough for Gamecock fans to be satisfied with the job Lamont Parrish has done. And if you go your route, then you have Dylan Mingo for another season as a sophomore. Then you might start.
No. You don't think.
You're not even worried about that.
No.
You're throwing
Lamont
everything.
Parrish is like, I got 1 year. He's like, I got 1 year. I got $15 million, supposedly, upwards of $15 million, according to a report. I mean, I got 1 year to get this done, and that means making the tournament at the very least and maybe even advancing. Yeah. And a guy like Mingo, if he's as good as he's portrayed to be, I mean, he'll be a 1 year guy. And so you bring him in to salvage your program. And again, I don't know how good the guy is. Is he a guy that can come in and dominate and turn your program around? It used to be, all of a sudden now it's taboo to go recruit the great high school player because you got to go recruit the best out of the portal. Why not go after the best? If you got all this money, if you didn't spend it on this guy, on this turkey sandwich, why don't you go and spend it on well, he is from Turkey.
He is, yep.
Why don't you
No
go
doubt.
and spend it on the best high school player in the country who's not signed and say, hey, here's 6 million reasons to come here and play a year. And then, you know what? Have a great year. If you want to stay, go, or you want to go to the NBA, or you want to transfer, that's what I would do.
Well, I mean, it was certainly some moderate success at BYU, and here's a kid just looking up some of his stats. Now, he missed most of this year. He had an ankle injury, so he would be a McDonald's All-American, you would think, had he not been hurt his senior year. But last June, he was MVP at the NBPA Top 100 camp, averaged 24 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. So, I mean, here's a guy who can affect the game, you would think, even stepping onto the floor for the first time as a collegiate player.
But does he run better than a 4.7?
I don't know. I'm not sure they timed him at the combine. May need to.
We got news out of Founders Park. It's gone from 5-1 Gamecocks to 5-5 because Davidson just has homered twice. They've got 4 runs in the second, 3-run homer and a solo homer. So this thing has turned, and Goodman is out after 1 inning, 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. And now Gregoire has come on to pitch. So that turned in a hurry. I'm thinking
That's
about
not
it.
going to help Goodman's ERA that you were touching on earlier.
It's already over 8, you know. So, all right, let me I got one more text here. Text line number 803-900 for 847. From Gamecock Tony in Lancaster, how come when Dumbo Sweeney, it's Dabo, talks positive, he's the best coach in college football history, and when Beamer does it, y'all sarcastic? I don't think, well, we sarcastic.
You said that you, after listening to Coach, you felt like Carolina could win 10 games.
That was a serious
that's really
comment.
sarcastic. I know.
No,
I
it's not
don't
being
understand how that's
sarcastic.
sarcastic.
Sarcastic. Was that sarcastic, Plumber? By the way, Plumber, we need the siren. You had major error.
It was an error, but it was not a factual error.
Production errors equal factual errors.
I have had a factual error in the past, and that counted. I do have one error, and I do owe $1. But that was not a factual error, so that will not count towards the donation.
Factually, you were supposed to hit that button, but you hit this button. So.
Well, they were labeled. I can't really read that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That well.
Well, it was.
Yeah. That's a grammatical error. There's another one.
That was not a factual error, though.
You're factually wrong in the choice of words.
I clicked on Shane Beamer number 3, and I was supposed to click on Shane Beamer number 1.
I do not know how you get the two confused, to be honest with you.
Well, it was a mistake, Phil.
I know that. I need to hear the siren.
It will not happen.
All right, to the phones, 888-898-2525. Let's go to Andy in Columbia. Andy, welcome in to Sports Talk. Great to have you with us.
Good evening, fellas. As the way y'all are making mistakes, we are sure to have one big old thing at Seawells that y'all are going to be giving to us.
I like that idea. A nice catered event.
Just keep piling it on, which will allow us, as your listeners, to pile on our plates when we go to Seawells.
I will say the pot is growing.
Well, I don't know that we could have a whole catered event for $47. I don't know. Cal likes us, but
47. It's only April. It's only April 14th. I think that 47 is going to exponentially develop into much more money.
Here's the question.
So I have very big faith in Corn on making that number much higher.
Here's the question. Will we have more factual errors this year? Who will have more? We with our factual errors or the Mets with their losses?
I'll tell you what. the Mets can't hit the ball. If they could hit the ball, they might be able to do something. But I sat up last night and about cried watching them play. But I cried. 17 innings, already 17 games played. They've had 2 17-inning droughts of no runs. 2 in 17 games. 2 different droughts. So, I'm already wishing that I didn't waste my money on the Major League Baseball package. But, such is life, and,
it's a gamble.
There goes some money.
Everything in life's a gamble.
You're talking about this guy from North Carolina that they should sign.
Well, I'm saying him or somebody like him.
Didn't he bring in G.G. Jackson, who was supposedly one, if not the top high school recruit at the time? And where did we go from there?
Nowhere.
Exactly. I mean, so...
Spent $800,000 reportedly.
$15 million. We could have a big old spread to Seawells for $15 million. I think some of us might enjoy that more than what kind of players they're going to put on the court.
I think.
But another recruiting thing that you missed, and I know you don't do much women's recruiting, but that girl Edwards, who was the UT commit, who's a top 5 high school girl coming out this year, who decommitted, is supposedly going to be at South Carolina tomorrow.
No, she's here now. I was going to get to that. She and Jordan Lee. Yeah, she and Jordan Lee are at the baseball game tonight. Jordan Lee, the transfer from Texas, 6-foot guard. So they're both at South Carolina tonight. Mm-hmm.
And what happened with the girl who came in this weekend from Virginia?
Kimora Johnson? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
But, this Edwards girl I hear can dunk. It's pretty good. But it's between, I heard, Washington, Louisville, and us, and she's a Washington State product. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I'm just trying to help you with your recruiting.
No, I was going to get to that. All right, big guy. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Well, y'all have a good evening.
You too.
It's always good talking to you, fellas.
Same here.
Believe it or not, I can dunk as well.
What, a donut?
I was going to say a chip into some queso. That's what I was going to say. But.
All right, to the break.
Phil, I hate to bring this before we go to break. I hate to bring this up,
Yeah.
but I will, since you and
Plummer
Andy like to talk about the Mets and Yankees so much. You realize that the Braves win the American League East, they lead the division, right?
Yeah.
Just wanted to point
the Yankees
that out.
have been on a skid. Now, we did pull one out last night, a wild one over the Angels. Boy, Mike Trout and Aaron Judge put on a show last night at the stadium. Wake Forest 5-3 on Coastal. USC Davidson 5-5. Clemson 7-0 over Charlotte. We got more Beamer coming up in a moment.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia. If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage million-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe.
If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia. We're serious about saving you money.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
All right, Shane Beamer met with the media today, wrapping up the Gamecock spring practice. He'll be hitting the road for Gamecock Club meetings around the state here in just a little bit. And earlier he talked about how he felt about things overall, and he feels pretty positive about things overall. One of the things that he had as a goal going into the spring, of course, was working in the new coaches, also working in the new offense with Kendall Briles. So how did that go? What's his feeling about how he met those particular goals in the spring?
From a goal for me was just those guys acclimating to how we do things, and in particular on offense, installing a new system and how we go from there, or how it goes from there. And I thought that was really, really good. I think we hit on that and liked the work that we got done from an installation standpoint and where we are offensively. Really, really pleased with that. I think our players would tell you the same thing. Certainly we've got a battle going on right now from a field goal kicker competition and try to create some situations. We got a lot of kicks in practice, don't get me wrong, but we try and create a lot of situations within a 2-minute drive or situational football where maybe it ends in a pressure kick. And few of the days that we had those planned that didn't quite end in a pressure kick for whatever reason. Maybe the offense scored a touchdown, or maybe the defense kept them out of field goal range during a 2-minute drive. So would have liked to have gotten, a few more kicks in those type situations. But overall, I thought we accomplished a lot and attacked a lot of those goals that we needed to see going into the spring.
You guys as a staff, I'm assuming, decided to make Matt Fuller the offensive player of the spring. Where did you see him make the biggest strides, and ultimately what led you guys to decide, let's make him the offensive player of the spring?
Yeah, we went over the awards. Here's what they are and here's what they stand for. And then I gave the offensive and defensive and special team staff, basically a week to kind of talk about it amongst themselves. And then that we would come back together in a staff meeting and they present, their thoughts to me. And there were a couple that I said, I don't know about that one right now. I don't quite see it the same way. But that was one that they came back to me and felt like Matt had the best spring, and I agreed with. And we determined that as a staff in our staff meeting last week, Jack. But I think Matt's always been a really talented guy. I mean, you go back to the end of the Kentucky game last season, he got in on that long drive we had at the end of the fourth quarter to put the game away or to really not give the ball back to Kentucky. He was the running back out there on the field that day. He did some things as a true freshman in 24 that you said, this guy's got a chance to really be a good player. Last year, the run against LSU. So he's flashed. The thing for Matt has just been the consistency, and I believe that Stan Drayton has come in and done a phenomenal job with him. Just the details, the understanding, really the pass protection. And there were a lot of, plays that we had in the passing game this spring that were a reflection of Matt and a blitz pickup that maybe he had. So I think his just confidence, his details of how he's doing things day in, day out. It's his, third year in the program, so he's a more mature version than what he was a couple years ago, and you're seeing that manifest itself with the way that he's performing on the field. But he's a workhorse that's a load, and I think a lot of guys had really good springs, but he was just one our offensive staff felt like really, really flashed and has us excited about.
What are the plans for Dylan Stewart the end of the spring and into the summer going into August?
Yeah, continue to just get well with his injury. It's one of those that just needs rest right now. Kind of the same thing I told you guys a few weeks ago. He just needs to rest. It's not like we, send him to a doctor and he makes a couple adjustments and he's good to go, or he jumps right back in the weight room. He really just needs to rest. So that's the plan for him right now. He'll be doing that, rest while getting better. He was out doing some things on the field this morning, and I was, walking with him out there on the field, just talking to myself and Derek Moore. But the thing for him is just resting, getting well, to be able to do the things he needs to do when we come back at the end of May to start summer school, to then put himself in position to go have the 2026 season that he and we want him to have.
Okay, Shane Beamer from his meeting with the media. Earlier today, a couple of other things have popped up to mention here. I missed this earlier. 5'8" free agent Mackenzie Nelson of Virginia Tech committed to sign with Clemson. So that's women's basketball. That's a pickup for Clemson in free agency, women's basketball. And Coastal Carolina picked up a free agent signee, Bergie. Get ready for this. 6'6", Javon Alston from Mount Olive. He committed to Coastal Carolina. You know, little backstory here. He found himself to be in quite a pickle at Mount Olive. I know that's
so bad.
That is low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. The Mount Olive Pickles. What is Mount Olive's real name, by the way? I mean, I know them as the Pickles. I see them on the grocery store.
Trojans.
They're the Trojans? They should be the Pickles. Why wouldn't you call yourself the Pickles? You'd get national acclaim at every supermarket in the country.
Don't doubt me on nicknames, Phil, even obscure ones. Yes, they are the Mount Olive Trojans.
The Mount Olive Trojans. So he's headed to Coastal Carolina. Let's see here. Free agent forward Logan Duncan. Did I miss all this? Logan Duncan.
Logan Duncan.
Logan Duncan. He's heading from Winthrop to Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a big pickup for Notre Dame. He's a nice player. He was really, really good for Winthrop. I think that's a sort of under the radar good pickup by Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised South Carolina didn't try and go after him too. Another big guy.
Yeah, and Tadrick, this is football. I missed all these little notes. 2029 defensive back Tadrick Gibson of Dutch Fork was offered by Penn State. Also, just a little while ago, Jaden Kelly Murray put out a little tweet, apparently responding to all the talk about his speed. And he posted, "Results don't lie." And he says, "Real lasers, by the way. Put respect on it." And he's got a picture here of a 2026 Rivals information page about him. Height 5'10", weight 172. Says his 40 is 4.41, and his shuttle was 4.25. He said this is laser timed, 4.41. That's his Rivals bio saying that he's a 4.4. Others saying he ran a 4.7. Got to be more to it than that, Bergie. Got to be more to it than that. We'll be back after the break.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfy this evening, the low dropping to 61. Tomorrow we break into the low 90s. Sky full of sunshine, 91 the high. We'll stay with that sunshine and low 90s into the weekend. Saturday, 94 and sunshine, while on Sunday, we cool to 85. There's no rain anywhere in our forecast the next 10 days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Explore the world with the 31st Annual Columbia International Festival, April 18th and 19th at the State Fairgrounds with free parking. Experience over 100 national exhibits, cuisines from around the world, an international bazaar, a global fashion show, an Olympic-style flag ceremony, and performers from around the globe. Now partnering with the SC250 Revolutionary Discovery Center. For tickets and more information, visit cifonline.org. That's cifonline.org.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military claims it has successfully begun enforcing a blockade of Iranian ports, escalating tensions with Iran. The Islamic Republic has threatened regional strikes. Recent talks between the U.S. and Iran ended without an agreement, but President Trump suggested a second round could take place in the next 2 days. The Justice Department has asked a federal appeals court to throw out the seditious conspiracy convictions of Proud Boys and Oath Keepers leaders who were sentenced to prison terms for leading members of the groups in attacking the U.S. Capitol over 5 years ago. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 317 points. The Nasdaq rose 455. The S&P 500 advanced 81. Oil dropped to around $92 a barrel. This is SRN News.
These days, it seems like every roofing company says they're local. But here's something most homeowners don't know. In the last couple of months, 5 roofing companies in the Midlands have been bought out by venture capital firms from out of state. The trucks may still drive around your neighborhood, the ads may still say locally owned, but the truth is, the people making the decisions, well, they're answering to the man in another state. At Bergen Roofing, they answer to someone different. You, the homeowner. They're locally owned, locally operated, and they're man enough to stand behind their work with a detailed 31-point roofing inspection checklist that ensures that your roof is done right. And here's something you don't hear much anymore. They won't take a penny. Well, all right, they don't even make pennies anymore, but they won't take a dime until you approve the finished job. That's the Bergen way. No corporate investors, no out-of-state bosses, just honest roofing done right. If your roof needs repair or replacement, call the company that answers to you. That's the Bergen difference. Truly, your neighborhood roofer. Call Bergen today, 798-ROOF. That's 798-ROOF.
The Heart Huddle Initiative is bringing life-saving heart health resources to our community, equipping public spaces, first responders, and strengthening emergency readiness across Columbia. We're calling on local businesses, organizations, and community leaders to step up. Your support can place critical equipment where it's needed most and ensure more people are ready when every second counts. Donate today to make an impact. Visit columbiasc.gov to learn how your organization can partner with Heart Huddle today.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Explore the world with the 31st Annual Columbia International Festival, April 18th and 19th at the State Fairgrounds with free parking. Experience over 100 national exhibits, cuisines from around the world, an international bazaar, a global fashion show, an Olympic-style flag ceremony, and performers from around the globe. Now partnering with the SC250 Revolutionary Discovery Center. For tickets and more information, visit cifonline.org. That's cifonline.org.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
All right, time to talk NASCAR. What a race they had at Bristol, just like you like it. A lot of bumping, a lot of banging, a lot of grinding. Tires at the end, hanging on at the end. Ty Gibbs, he gets the win by 0.055 seconds. That was enough, holding off Blaney to get the victory. Let's talk about it with Russell Branham from Darlington Raceway, substituting again tonight, filling in for the president of Darlington Raceway, Josh Harris. Welcome in, Russell. How are you?
Phil, I'm doing great, man. I love the intro song. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a staple. It's a staple.
It is, man. I love it.
It pretty much says it all. Going into Darlington County, going into Darlington City, going into Darlington Raceway, pretty much says it all.
It speaks a lot to someone who is from Darlington County, you know, so probably means a little bit more to us down here in this part of the state.
Did you actually write that song and sell it to the boss?
I I wish I had. If so, I would probably be on a beach somewhere, you know.
Understood. So, heck of a race at Bristol. Just what that track needed, right? They needed something that kind of looked like the old Bristol.
Yeah, you know, that racetrack is going through a lot of changes, you know, stuff over the years. You know, I can remember, you know, way back, you know, when it was asphalt, and then they concreted it, and then years later they made the banking, you know, where it's sort of like a bowl. And I know they tried a lot of different things there to help the competition standpoint, you know, make it where you could have side-by-side racing, battles for the lead, etc. I think you got a lot of that the other day, and it was really good to see a first-time winner, and you know, Little Gibbs. Ty has been knocking on the door this year, as well as a few times last year as well. But glad to see him win. I hated that Ryan didn't have better luck. I know they had some issues on pit road, but it came down to a great finish, and that's really what you're looking for. But again, throughout the race, the racing was good.
Yeah. Only, if I'm seeing this right, if I'm counting it right, I count only 4 drivers who led. So not a whole lot of change with the lead. You had Larson with 284 laps led, Blaney 190, Gibbs 25, and I think Elliott led 6 laps. Nobody else led a lap. So, I mean, that's a little strange for Bristol, isn't it?
I think, you know, it could be looked at that way, but one of the things that I liked, and they kept showing a lot of this on the broadcast, there was a lot of racing within the race that may have not been for the lead, but there was a lot of racing for positions and trying to get those guys to get up to the front where they could compete for a top 5, they could compete for a top 10. So, yeah, somewhat uncharacteristic, but again, I thought overall, I thought it was a good race. You know, Goodyear came with a good tire, and I know they've been working to do a lot of different things at that racetrack, and NASCAR's worked with them. Goodyear's worked with the teams and NASCAR to try to provide a good tire that's going to provide some good racing. I think they accomplished that.
Mm-hmm.
Russell, how much does Ty Gibbs take away from this win? Clearly his first, so it's a huge, huge deal. But the fact that you combine Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, they had about 100 laps of fresher tires than what he did at the end. And to be able to hold those 2 guys off, considering how talented they are, on much fresher tires, that's a remarkable feat for any veteran driver, much less a guy searching for his first win.
Yeah, you think about it, if you're him and you see both of the guys you just mentioned, you see them in your rearview mirror. Both are former champions. Both have won a lot of races. And you know you've got to hold them off at one of the toughest racetracks that there is, you know, in the NASCAR series, Cup Series. I give him a lot of credit. I know he's caught a lot of flack this year. There's been some things that have come out that have been said about him that he says not true, but he's had to battle some things off the track as well as on the track. You know, anytime you have the name of the guy whose name is on the front of the building, there's a lot of more added pressure. And let's face it, with Ty, he's been competing, you know, in the Cup Series now for a few years. You know, a couple years ago, he lost his father after he captured the O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series championship in Phoenix. So he's gone through a lot, you know, on the personal front, and then from a just pure pressure standpoint, to be able to perform. The other guys within that organization have been winning; they have been making the playoffs. So I'm glad for him that he's able to finally get to the top of the mountain and taste the victory.
Considering his last name, the clear comparison would be to, say, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Clearly, not even close in terms of comparisons with their driving skills and their success on the racetrack. But how much do you believe maybe finally breaking through and getting a win will launch his career maybe to a different level where he can start becoming a multi-time winner on the Cup Series?
Well, I think, you know, winning the first one is the tough part. Now being able to come back, the pressure won't be as immense. I mean, let's face it, there have been some drivers who've been able to win quickly. You talked about Dale Jr. You know, he won at Texas for his first race, and it was during his rookie season. So there's some guys that have been able to get those wins quick. Some guys have had to wait a little bit, but it's paid off in the end where they all had success. So I would just say just give him a little more time. And, again, this is a little bit different in the fact that, you know, his grandfather was the owner of the team. His grandfather was not a driver, so he's able to sort of make a name for himself as a driver. His dad and his uncle both competed in NASCAR, but neither had success. So this is something that's pretty big for the Gibbs family. It's the first win for the Gibbs family from a driving standpoint. So I thought it was huge for that family, for that race team, and for our sport as well.
Well, it's always a good thing when a popular name is crossing the line first, and you have that with the Gibbs family, just like what's been going on with Michael Jordan through this part of the season. Always good for NASCAR to get that kind of shot in the arm. So we got some things coming up at Darlington here later on this spring, going into May. Fill us in on what's on the agenda coming up.
Well, May the 16th, which is going to be on a Saturday, we're bringing back Speed and Feed. And for several years before COVID, Speed and Feed was a nice event. It's a big barbecue cook-off. We've got the Kansas City Barbecue Society that has partnered with us. So we're going to have a lot of pro teams. Right now we've got over 25 pro teams that will be competing to try to win. And if they win, they get to go to the national championship in Kansas City later this year. As a part of that, we're going to have a big car show. We're going to have a lot of kids' activities, a lot of vendors, swap meet, you name it. We're going to have it. So we're going to have our Stock Car Classics group, which is a bunch of old vintage race cars that will be there. But got a lot of interest from a lot of different car groups from across the state, across Georgia, North Carolina. So we're looking to have a lot of cars there. We're going to have a backyard barbecue wing competition as well with a lot of our local grillers. So it's going to be a full day of something that's totally opposite as far as racing goes. We won't have any race cars on the racetrack in a series, but guess what we will have? We'll have the NASCAR racing experience there all day long. So if you want to come, and you got to pay a separate fee.
Yeah.
But you can ride around that racetrack with a professional driver. They'll have several stock cars there. So if you've never been around Darlington and you want to go in a stock car, May the 16th is going to be the day.
I mean, we're talking speed, right? Going around Darlington at speed.
Absolutely. You'll be going around at speed. Those cars are equipped with a passenger seat. And so everyone that comes there, not only will you get to taste some barbecue and see some great cars and do all these other things, you also could have the opportunity as well to get in the passenger side of a race car with a professional driver and go at speed around Darlington.
Well,
that is a hair-raising experience.
My advice would be do the ride first and do the barbecue afterwards. Because I'm afraid if you did it in the reverse order, you might have a little bit of a mess inside that car. I'm serious. Can you imagine having chowed down on a pound of hot barbecue and then, hey, you're up. Okay. So, time me in and then.
We'll have to take that into consideration for the rules of the day, Phil.
I think you better go around first before you eat. That could be a problem. Do you know who the drivers are going to be?
NASCAR Racing Experience has some professional drivers. They go around to various racetracks, and we're very fortunate they're going to come down. So I don't know the names of those guys. I do know they've got a lot of experience. They've driven around Darlington before. They've driven around a number of other racetracks. So the fans that come down and want to be a part of this, they'll be in good hands. But I'm telling you, I've been around that racetrack in a stock car, and I've been around it in a pace car. There's nothing like going around in a stock car. It will really take your breath, and it's just super exciting.
Now, you've been around Talladega at speed as well, right?
I did. When I first went to Talladega, we did a media day, and Dale Jarrett was there. He had the Dale Jarrett driving adventure. And so I was able to persuade him to come down and do a media day. And so he took all the media around, and then we got finished. And I said, we're done. He said, no, we're not. He said, go put on a uniform. I'm like, no, I'm not. He says, yes, you are. He said, if you're going to promote Talladega, you need to feel it. So I did. I went and put on a uniform, got in the car, and, man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was. There's nothing like going, with your foot completely down on the floorboard around that place. A lot different in Darlington where you got to really maneuver, you got to really drive it. Talladega, a lot different. You just hold on for dear life and hold it wide open.
See, at Darlington, I call it you got to feather the throttle. You can't just mash it to the floor. You got to feather the throttle.
You have to, because if you hold the floor, you're going to
hit the wall,
get a huge Darlington stripe, and your day will be over.
You're going to go slam straight into the wall. Russell,
that's right.
Tell people about getting the tickets for that, what they need to do, and also go ahead and get those tickets for the Southern 500. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, all you got to do, again, Labor Day weekend will be here before you know it. The great thing about Labor Day weekend is it will be the first round of the chase for the NASCAR Cup Series and also for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So we'll have a doubleheader. Both will be the initial races for the chase, which is the old playoff system, but the 10-race chase will start at Darlington. And as far as our speed and feed goes, just come see us. Basically, we're going to be selling food tickets. You buy 10 tickets for $10, and guess what? You can go and sample all the different food that's being cooked that day. So, come on in. It gets you inside. You get to go and visit all the vintage classic cars that we'll have on display, the stock cars, all kinds of good stuff. So it's an easy fix. Just come in with $10, buy 10 tickets. You can sample all kinds of food.
That sounds fantastic, my man. We thank you as always. Tell Josh we
Appreciate
said
it,
hello,
Russell.
and we'll talk to one of you next week.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell Branham from Darlington County, Darlington City, and all of that. Thank you, Russell, for being with us. I got to do something here, Bergie. I did a terrible job. I missed. I didn't make a mistake. I did a terrible job.
I wasn't going to play the error.
I just missed on several key notes in recruiting. I don't know how I left these out. So if you'll forgive me, I want to make this up very quickly before the break and before we update baseball, before we hear a little more from Shane Beamer. So I need to mention all this. Going back into recruiting. Thank you, Plummer. Woodruff running back Aiden Gibson. He named the top 5 of South Carolina, North Carolina, Rutgers, Louisville, Penn State. Cornerback Joshua Dobson, formerly of Catawba Ridge, will visit Michigan on Thursday. I think I mentioned that. Offensive lineman Stafford Willis of Arab, Alabama, made a visit to South Carolina today. He also visited in early March. South Carolina offered cornerback Kelvin Millington. He's 6'4", 185 of Bogart, Georgia. Clemson's in the Final 5 with offensive lineman Elijah Morrison, 6'4", 305 of Decula, Georgia, along with Georgia, Auburn, Florida State, and NC State. Okay? And let's see here. We mentioned the two ladies visiting South Carolina, Jordan Lee, Olivia Edwards. Lee spent 2 seasons at Texas, averaged 13 a game. Edwards, of course, a high school recruit, recently decommitted from Tennessee. All right, I think I got everything in now that I had
Attaboy.
reported earlier, tweeted out, but failed to put in my notes. All right, baseball as we go to the break, and then a little more Beamer. Davidson, South Carolina, 5-5, top of the 4th. South Carolina softball, 2-0 on Clemson, bottom of the 6th. Clemson baseball, 7-3 on Charlotte, bottom of the 5th. Wake Forest, 7-3 on Coastal, top of the 6th. Winthrop, 11-1 on Elon, top of the 6th. College of Charleston, 5-0 on Upstate, top of the 8th. Charleston Southern, 3-2 on Citadel, top of the 3rd. Be right back.
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
If you want to reach sports fans, there's no better place than the Sports Talk Media Network. We give your business exposure on over 20 radio affiliates across South Carolina, plus online at SportsTalkSC.com and on our growing social media platforms. That means radio, digital, and social, all working together for your brand. Our audience is loyal, engaged, and they trust what they hear from us. We partner with local businesses, regional brands, and anyone who wants to connect with real sports fans. From live reads and sponsorships to digital advertising, we'll build a custom campaign to fit your goals and budget. Ready to advertise with Sports Talk Media Network? Visit sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. That's sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. Sports Talk Media Network, advertising that reaches sports fans.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been handling claims and cases for individuals and small businesses. I've now been a mediator for more than 10 years. Let me put that experience to work for you. Like if you're injured in a wreck or on the job or at someone else's place, anytime you should get reimbursed or compensated. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968 or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett to settle your claims, avoid a lawsuit, or go to trial.
Now I'm going round, going round, going round, going round one more time. Said I'm going round, watch me now. One more time. I'll be going round, going round, going round and going.
All right, one more from Shane Beamer from his press conference today with the media on the wrap-up of South Carolina spring football. Of course, all eyes will be on Lenoris Sellers. How good will he be? What kind of move did he make this spring? What did Beamer think about the kind of spring that Sellers had?
Yeah, I thought Lenoris had a great spring, getting adjusted or learning a new offense, getting adjusted to Coach Browse and Coach Browse's coaching style. Was really pleased with the spring that Lenoris had. I think he's in a good place. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Leadership-wise, same thing. I think he's been really good there. Communicating with the offense, organizing throwing sessions, talking when he needs to talk, like where he is right now. And he and I talked about it. He was one of my first meetings yesterday morning at like 7:30, and he and I talked about it, just that, he's not the young guy anymore. This is his, fourth year in the program, and all eyes are on him in so many ways. So don't be somebody that you're not, but continue to lead this team, and this summer will be big for you from a leadership standpoint too. But really pleased with what he's done there, and I like where he is right now, mentally and physically.
And you mentioned you're going to be hitting the road, and you've been speaking to the Gamecock fans across the state. Coming off of last season, what do you expect to be the most difficult question that the fans will be asking you as you crisscross the state?
I don't know, Coach. We're going to be any better this year? I mean, I don't know. I get the tough questions at home too. We were walking around the Masters Sunday, and like I said, there were tons of Gamecock fans that were coming up, and were very, 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 very nice. And my son was with me, and he stopped me, and he's like, "Do they know you went 4-8 last season?" So I don't think there's any question that I'm going to get at a Gamecock club that's going to be any harder than what I get at home. But I say that in all seriousness, Phil. Everyone that we're all disappointed about last season, nobody more so than myself. But everyone that I saw this past week, and I'm sure there were people that didn't speak that were cussing me as I walked by and calling me a bum. I get it. That's just the job I signed up for. But everyone that we saw in Augusta, and anyone that I've come in contact with really since the end of last season, has been nothing but amazing and positive. And I love the passion of our fans. That's why I can't wait to get out to some of these Gamecock Club events and see and feel and hear their passion. And I'd rather coach at a place where you have passionate fans that ask you hard questions and whatnot than a place where they don't care. And they care here, and I'm very, very passionate about getting us to where we need to be, and that's competing for championships, and proud to get out on the road and represent this program and this university, and be able to talk about that on the road next week, or when we get out in a couple of weeks.
Okay, there you go. Shane Beamer from earlier today. Might have more from him on Thursday. He's going down to Harbortown tomorrow for the Pro-Am. He'll be the Am part of that. The Pro-Am for the RBC Heritage. We'll be there Thursday, Friday. We would be in the pro side of that, but we couldn't get an exemption. There were no exemptions left. They don't give exemptions to 25 handicaps when it comes to playing.
No, this is true. We need a sponsor. If we had a big time sponsor, though, I think they might make an exception.
Maybe I can get.
If RBC, I guarantee, if RBC called up to Steve Wilmot and said, "Hey, we need to get Cornblood on the slide him into the tournament here."
I use Boeing all the time.
Another one.
I use Boeing all the time. So I do use Boeing all the time.
Do you buy planes?
Well, I sit in them.
Well, but those are owned by.
Yeah, but they're
Spirit,
made by
you
Boeing.
don't
Most of them are
Delta.
made by Boeing. So in a crazy kind of way, I'm supporting Boeing.
Well, no, not really.
Davidson has taken a 6-5 lead, a home run to right in the top of the fourth. So South Carolina trailing South Carolina softball now up on Clemson 3-0. Clemson 7-3 on Charlotte baseball. Wake Forest on Coastal 7-3, bottom of the sixth. Winthrop 11-1 on Elon. I wanted to get to a text message here. This is from the 803. Phil, I heard about the receiver's 4.7 at the combine, but I also heard his agent got a number from Virginia Tech and was aggravating the coaches for leverage in regards to the receiver and what he wanted. Therefore, they ushered him away. Yeah, Hale McGranahan wrote something like that, too, at the Big Spur, that there were some adults getting in the way of the process, as he put it. Not as he put it, but as I'm repeating sort of what he wrote. Adults, too many voices, too many people getting involved here. And I guess South Carolina said, enough of this. We don't need this headache with all these other people. If it ain't good enough the way we agreed to it already, then voila, see you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way to the elevator.
You know how you might prevent fans from wondering what's going on in some of these rumors and stories?
How is that, Bertie?
Hale may be spot on. A little transparency, a word you love to use, which would be so appropriate if we actually knew what these contracts said.
Yeah, I try to relate it to NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. I mean, we don't know in the public when they're negotiating with free agents, these teams, we don't know what the negotiate. We see reporting of it, okay, but the teams don't turn that over. They don't make that public. The reporters get that either from agents or somebody connected to the athlete, and we get a little bit of that here on the college level right now, but we don't get enough of it to hang our hat on to believe. Nobody wants to believe what they read. For example, I saw this today, the NIL market for college basketball. This is by a guy named Evan Miyakawa, College Basketball Analytics. He's got 61,000 followers, a PhD statistician, whatever that means. In the NIL market for college basketball is up 65% from last season. And let's see, he had a little chart here. Where'd it go? He had a little chart here. Let's see, looks like the center, I can't read it all here. The center position is like over $1 million. Current market demand for one position is like over $1 million, I guess, on average. So we'll talk more about this kind of stuff tomorrow, and also about what's happening with Learfield being taken over by private equity. See you tomorrow.